Hello again, family. Today I want to speak to you about an issue that so many of you have written to me about, and that is the fact that the public order report on the use of the Emergencies Act is due to be reported this week, and there are two dates circulating, which is causing some confusion. The first date being February 6th, when the report was supposed to be presented to Cabinet, and the second date is February 20th, 2 weeks later, when the report is to be provided to Parliament and for the Canadian public to see. We know that the Commissioner has asked for an extension for the February 6, 2023 date, but many are still asking if the report will be given to Trudeau's cabinet before it is given to Parliament. Many of you are concerned that Prime Minister Trudeau is trying to get a draft copy of the report before it is given to Parliament. You're concerned with Justin Trudeau's clear pattern of ethical violations and the lack of transparency and disregard that he's shown for our Parliament and in some cases even our democratic process, like the right to peacefully protest. He has proven time and time again his willingness to engage in behavior that has raised concerns about conflict of interest and to use the weight of his office for political benefit. So many of you are concerned that he may try to alter the findings of this report, or that he may exert some sort of influence. And that's very, very concerning in a democracy. I can say to you that I can understand some of your distress that you may have and that the Liberals have created in our institutions. But you can rest assured that neither Justin Trudeau nor his cabinet have a legal right under the Emergencies Act to see the report prior to Parliament. I remind you that Justin Trudeau did not order this inquiry. The Commission is mandated under Section 63(1) of the Emergencies Act to have a public inquiry whenever the Emergencies Act is invoked. And Section 63 reads, and I'm going to read it directly, 63(1) states that the Governor and Council shall, within 60 days after the expiration or revocation of a declaration of emergency, cause an inquiry to be held into the circumstances that led to the declaration being issued and the measures taken for dealing with that emergency. End of quote. So, the same act that Justin Trudeau used to call in the police on protesters, that he used to freeze bank accounts, seize cars, is the same act that creates the obligation to have an inquiry and to produce a report to the public to determine if the use of the act was justified, whether it was necessary. Many people are concerned that if the Prime Minister may be given a draft of the report ahead of time, that his office will attempt to influence the outcome. Those are the letters and those are the concerns that I've received. So how did we end up with two different dates, and how did we end up in a situation where Canadians don't even trust their own government? The Act, I'm going to go back to the Act, and it states in Section 63 that within 360 days after the revocation of the emergency, the report has to be laid in Parliament. Now, in order to get the report, the government issued an order that created the Public Order Emergencies Commission, and that commission is what is responsible for determining whether or not the Emergencies Act was properly invoked. And so that commission was created so that they could do that work and investigate and write a report. Now, under the same order in council, they set the date of February 6, 2023, which is the date that Justin Trudeau has stipulated that the report must be provided to Cabinet. Now, there's no differentiation of that date within the Emergencies Act, which is the act that requires the report to be written. But the inquiry is not ordered by government or by Justin Trudeau. It is ordered by law in the Emergencies Act. And as a result of its invocation, that is why a report is required. Therefore, the Order in Council should not have changed the prescribed date that was in the Emergencies Act. It had no legal authority to create a date for Cabinet to see that report first. So let's look at how this happened. In Section A, it states that the Commissioner is required to submit to the Governing Council a final report in both official languages in their findings and recommendations no later than February 6, 2023. You see, under the statute, the law, Parliament doesn't get the report until February 20th, 2023. That is a difference of 2 weeks after it is issued to the Governor in Council. So Canadians, you have a right to be concerned about who will see the report between February 6th and February 20th. Although we have recently learned that the Commissioner needs more time to provide the report and that it won't be provided on February 6th. That does not mean that it won't be provided prior to February 20th to the Cabinet. We can't necessarily rule that out. So you have a right to raise a question about why should it be given to the Governing Council 2 weeks prior, or even whatever amount of time prior than it is given to Parliament. And you have a right to ask, why did the executive branch, that is Trudeau's Cabinet, who directed in the order to start the inquiry, why did the Cabinet stipulate that the Order in Council should be given the report 2 weeks prior to Parliament? With the level of ethical violations and the lack of transparency in the Liberal Party, people are, I think, naturally concerned and naturally thinking that perhaps the Liberals are trying to see the report ahead of time. And based on the evidence that we've seen, it certainly does look that way. Given the Emergencies Act was used to stop a protest that arose through government abuse and overreach, the maintenance of transparency and impartiality is essential. And given that there were reports that the Prime Minister's office was told one day before the Emergencies Act was invoked that the protest was under control, there's a lot of hurt and distrust surrounding this entire use of the Emergencies Act and whether it was done for political gain, and whether the Emergencies Act was invoked for Justin Trudeau to save face after he mishandled the COVID pandemic by using it as an opportunity to spread hate, division, even calling a useless election in the middle of a pandemic, costing taxpayers over $650 million. So the insertion of a date in the Order in Council to present the report 2 weeks before Parliament would get a copy does not look good. Canadians are very concerned about the integrity of the process, and the Canadian public is putting the Prime Minister's office on notice that the public is watching how this report is dealt with. The Canadian public expect and deserve honesty and integrity in investigating what happened with the use of the Emergencies Measures Act. And that means that nobody in the Liberal Party should see this document before other members of the House of Commons. Like you, I love this country, and I want to make sure that its institutions are protected. And that means that they must operate with transparency. It means that its agents must act with integrity, and that nobody, not even the Prime Minister and his cabinet, are above the law. So I don't care whether you supported the convoy or whether you're against the convoy, whether you are a liberal, a conservative, or a New Democrat, a Bloc, a Green Party member, or an independent. The real issue is that we work together in ensuring that our laws are followed and that there is transparency in our government. The issue is maintaining that no matter who you are as a Canadian, your bank account cannot be frozen by your government just like that. It's ensuring that when a serious law like the Emergencies Act is used by the government against the people, which is a very serious act because it was previously called the War Measures Act, it's ensuring that the inquiry must be held in order to protect the public against the government's abuse of power. So it's the job of the inquiry to assess whether the test for invoking the Emergencies Act was met. Was there no other alternative? That's the issue. The right of the public to be protected against government overuse is so serious, and it is so important that it was enshrined, it was written into the Emergencies Act. Section 63 exists as a check on government overreach. Justin Trudeau does not get to control that process, because that process, that is the inquiry, was created to protect us against a leader like him that may improperly abuse his powers. We need to make sure that the government has the proper restraints not to abuse their powers. And this is the same for any party that's in power. So, family, I've done my best to research this and to keep you informed and to kind of just put together a quick video that can highlight some of the issues and what is going on, because I know that there have been news reports, but the letters still keep coming in and the phone calls keep coming in to explain what is going on, what is happening. But it doesn't end here, even though the commissioner has said that he needs some more time, and so he will not be presenting the report on the 6th. That doesn't mean that it will not be presented between the 6th and the 20th when the report is in fact ready. So I need your help. It's time for you to put away partisanship and to fight for the integrity of our Canadian institutions. I need you to get online or get a pen and a piece of paper and write a letter to your MP, senators, the Prime Minister, his cabinet, the Governor General, stating simply that we, the people, want fair laws in this country. We, the people, believe in the transparency of our democratic institutions. The cabinet must receive the Emergencies Act report at the same time as Parliament in order for there to be transparency and for confidence to be restored in this process. It's simple. I will also put in the link below on this video and in the email that I will send out to some of you, just highlighting in the form of a letter some of the things that I've raised here. The postal code that you can, a link to a postal code that you can punch in to find contact information for your member of parliament so that you can mail them a letter or you can email them. And if you're putting it in the mail, the postage is free. We need Justin Trudeau to realize that he is not the King of Canada. We have a democracy which operates on transparency, within a system, and our legal processes must remain transparent. Please help to restore the integrity and transparency of the Emergencies Act Inquiry. Thank you in advance, and bye for now.